Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are fine and your studies are going on the right track. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. In the Daily Current Affairs, I strive to bring to you all the important information about this particular examination, specifically related to current affairs, because static part is okay. We can get updated each and every day by revision. But when it comes to current affairs are the most challenging part of the entire preparation. Do not worry about making notes because I provide the notes through the form of the PDF that I'm using, and that is available on my Telegram channel. This is by the name of Pooja Dwivedi UPSC. If you have any queries regarding this examination, any suggestion, anything that you want to talk about UPSC, make sure that you follow me on Instagram and Threads as well. So these are the various events we have to talk about today. I asked a practice question with respect to Hyderabad. Now, because of 17th September, marking the anniversary of the Hyderabad Liberation Day, I asked that question. Many of you have answered it correctly. Many of you have also answered one of my in the midst of the session question that I asked. I will try to ask another question in the middle. You have to answer that as well. Okay. So with reference to the Hyderabad in the late 1940s, consider the following statements. The state had a majority Hindu population, with the state administration almost entirely being led by the Muslim rulers. The primary strike against Hyderabad state forces was led by Major General Chaudhry's division. Operation Vijay was launched by the Indian Army to integrate the princely state of Hyderabad. So we have to see how many of the statements given above is or are correct. As I told you that 17th September is the anniversary of the Hyderabad Liberation Day, and 13th of September for this year 2023 marked the 75th anniversary of Operation Polo that was launched by the Indian Army to integrate Hyderabad. Hyderabad signed an instrument of standstill, or we can call it standstill instrument, with the Indian government, so that after partition for one full year, Hyderabad remains so. It doesn't join either India or Pakistan. Although it did not share any boundary with Pakistan, yet it had every intentions to maintain fraternal relations with Pakistan, and that would be a threat to India. So, a police action as called by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was launched by the name of Operation Polo. And Operation Polo, here the first or the primary strike was led by Major General Chaudhry's division. So, second is correct. Third is not correct because it's Operation Polo and not Operation Vijay. Okay. The state actually had a majority Hindu population, but the leader was a Muslim, Mir Usman Ali Shah. So first particular statement on that basis is correct. Second is correct. Third is incorrect. Almost the entire administration was run by the Muslim rulers and the subjects were majority Hindus. So first is correct, second is correct, third is not correct. How many are correct? Two only will be the correct answer, this one and this one. All right. So I have already told you majority of the information over here. The Nizam of Hyderabad didn't want to join either India or Pakistan. I've told you this as well. Hyderabad is situated in the Deccan and it was one of the richest and the most expanded areas. It had 17 districts. It also consisted of Aurangabad, that is now in Maharashtra, and Gulbarga, that is now in Karnataka. The landlocked state had a majority Hindu population, and the Indian forces were led by Major General Jayanto Nath Chaudhary, the general commanding officer of one armored division. Okay, so these kind of specific named questions, factual questions could also be asked. All right, let's move ahead. Yes, I would want to inform you that from 22nd of September, we are launching our evening P2I batches. Do you know that many coaching institutes just talk about the GS part? CSAT, essay, ethics are separated. Language papers, at some places you will not find it. Also, interviews are not included. If you are qualified enough, you may, if you have qualified means examination, you would be called for the interviews. But from the beginning, we are very optimistic that most of you will make through UPSC Prelims 2024. So we have an integrated batch. Everything is covered, not only prelims, mains, but also the interviews. Also study material, prelims test series, mains test series, CSAT, essay, ethics, language paper, everything will be thoroughly prepared from the very first day. So you have to ensure that you use the code PDLive so that you can get it at a discount of 29,999 only. The batches are available in English and Hindi, whichever batch suits you. Other than this, we also have a long-term batch for the year 2025. Similar features, and the batches have started from 16th of September. This is for 2025. Everything is the same, just the time, you can say the time period for preparation is more protracted in nature. Here also you can use the code PDLive. In any batch you can use the code PDLive. With respect to vanadium, consider the following statements. It is a critical raw material. That means it is important. Critical raw materials are those materials which are important for the economic growth of a country. For strategic sectors such as defense and aerospace, the first offshore sediment findings of vanadium has been recorded from Gujarat in the Gulf of Kutch. In Gujarat, it has been found in a mineral called titomagnetite. So we have to see how many statements given above is or are correct. That is true that in Gujarat, for the first time ever, offshore sediments have been seen to be carrying vanadium. And this is not from the Gulf of Kutch. This is from the Gulf of Khambat. So you see, UPSC loves confusing its students, and UPSC loves to test your presence of mind and your sharpness. If you have just read, yes, that this has been found out in Gujarat, but we do not know, is it the first ever offshore sediment discovery or not? Maybe you won't be able to do this question. Also, after that, another challenge is to know where exactly offshore it was found. Kutch or Gulf of Khambat. UPSC is the master of confusing us. So we do not have to be confused. This is how we have to break down our statements. Make sure that you use your brain when we talk about certain keywords. First, offshore sediment findings. That means there must be traces of vanadium that may not have been found offshore but in some other states as well. But this is the first ever offshore sediment findings for vanadium. This comes from Gujarat, where Gulf of Khambat. So you see, you have to divide. When you read any statement, divide it in parts. When you divide it in parts, it becomes much more microscopic, and you will never falter with this particular strategy. So this is how you develop skills. Okay. So second is incorrect because here it is Gulf of Kutch. Then vanadium is a critical raw material. Yes, it is used for strategic sectors such as defense, aerospace, even many other things. So we have already discovered lithium, one of the very important materials in Jammu and Kashmir. Now we have got vanadium from Gujarat, Gulf of Khambat. And rarely it is possible that vanadium is available in its purest formats. It is found in different minerals and materials. And it has been found in a mineral called titomagnetite, which is molten lava, which cools down very quickly. So you have to remember these small intricacies are the favorite of UPSC, and we have to abide by this favoritism. Okay, so first correct, second incorrect, third is correct. 1 and 3rd are correct, second is not, 2 only will be the correct answer. After lithium in Kashmir, rare metal vanadium has been found. It will also be used in important batteries in Gujarat, and here is the Gulf of Khambat. Specifically, if I have to point out, then it has been found in Gulf of Khambat along the Alang region. Okay, so this could also be asked in your UPSC. The Geological Survey of India has conducted this research to find it, and it first reported the potential new source of vanadium, and it is the first report of vanadium occurrence in the offshore sediment of India. You see, Arunachal Pradesh, Karnataka, Odisha and Maharashtra had traces of it, but offshore we are talking about India. Also, I would like to suggest that we will add here, if I could write in India. Okay, this could be another statement, but we have to keep in mind that logical senses also come into play when we are talking about this particular examination. Of course, we are talking about India, that is why second statement from that perspective is correct. But if I also, if I could write here around the world or in the entire world, then this statement would have been wrong. Okay. So I hope you are understanding how we will relate things. Moving on. Now, rarely it is found in its pure form naturally. At the Gulf of Khambat, it has been found a mineral called titomagnetite, which is formed when molten lava cools rapidly. And this is probably because of the Deccan basalts, which were mainly brought through the rivers of Narmada and Tapi. Okay, and I've already made you understand all the other things. Which of the following three countries have formed the alliance of Sahel states? I've already covered this. If you have watched that class, you can answer this question really easily. This could also be a map based question. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Burkina Faso, Burkina Faso, Mali, Ghana, Mali, Niger. The correct answer is option A, Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger. This alliance of Sahel states, it is a NATO style treaty. Let's talk about. See, the three Sahel countries, Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger, have signed a defense pact. Now keep in mind, this is not only for the defense, from the defense or military perspective, but also from the economic perspective. And mind you that these three countries are under the military coup right now, military junta rule right now. Okay, Sahel, what is Sahel? Sahel is a term that comes from the Arabic word Sahel, that means coast or offshore. And as you can see, Sahel or Sahel states have an expanse across the coast of the Atlantic to the coast of the Red Sea. Which are these states? Let's talk about them. Senegal, Mauritania, Mali, Niger, Nigeria, Chad, Sudan, Eritrea. These are known as the Sahel states. There is also a G5 Sahel group. Can you tell me in the comment segment who are these 5 countries? Okay, moving on. Sahel is a, you can say, transitional region between the Sahara Desert and the savanna, which are rainforest. So it's at the southern rim of Sahara. This region is very hard to control. Geographically, it can be known as an equivalent of Afghanistan. And because of climate changes, all the other issues also have arisen over here. Drought, lack of proper water, lack of any sort of, any crisis can occur here and no solution can be found out here. That is why militancy is very easy to have its foothold over here, specifically Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Alright, moving on. The alliance document Article 6 is just like NATO's Article 5, which says that if there is an attack on any one of the member of NATO, it will be considered as an attack on all, right? And that is why Article 6 here similarly says any attack on one or more signatory states will be considered as an attack on all the signatories. That means when ECOWAS, was trying to attack Niger over the military coup, this will give safety to Niger. Mali will also benefit a lot from here because not only it will have a kind of shield from outside attack, but it can also curb those militancy that is already going on against the junta. And Burkina Faso is expected to lead this particular group because of the stability that military junta has brought in that region. Okay, and the need to continue the heroic struggles waged by African people and countries for political independence, human dignity and economic emancipation. These are the main things to be clear of. It also binds the 3 countries to work to prevent or settle armed rebellions, and Article 4 says that it is going to also help combat terrorism in all forms and organized crimes as common area of the alliance. If these 3 countries have the military and this group of military can help any particular country of the alliance, it will do so in order to curb any sort of organized crime or armed rebellion. With reference to the C-295 aircraft, consider the following statements. It's a versatile tactical transport which can perform a variety of missions. The spacecraft is not equipped for air-to-air refueling of fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters. The aircraft is set to replace the Avro 748 fleet. So how many of the statements given above are not correct? This is really true that it's a versatile tactical transport and can perform variety of functions. This is definitely correct. It is actually equipped with refueling for air-to-air mode, and that makes the second statement to be not correct. This aircraft is also going to replace Avro 748 fleet. So third is correct, first is correct, second is not correct. How many are not correct? 1 only will be the correct answer. Indian Air Force has already received the first of the 56, how many? 56 C-295 aircraft to replace the aging Avro 748 fleet. And this is at the Airbus production site in Seville, Spain. It's a versatile tactical transport, can be used for carrying troops and cargo, maritime patrol, airborne warning, surveillance and reconnaissance, that means intelligence collection, armed close air support, medical evacuation, VIP transport, airborne firefighting. All this can be performed. Okay, it can carry up to 9 tons of payload. Sometimes you have to remember, not sometimes, most of the times in defense questions, you have to remember the capabilities as well. Data capability can be asked. Or up to 71 personnel at maximum cruise speed of 260 kts. It is also equipped for air-to-air refueling of fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters. It is powered by two Pratt & Whitney turboprop engines. So you have to remember this as well. Very importantly, it can be asked in your prelims. The aircraft can cruise at altitudes up to 30,000 feet. You have to remember this as well, because I can formulate a statement. The aircraft can cruise at altitudes over 30,000 feet. Now there is a difference between over and up to. Up to is the maximum limit. Over is we can breach this maximum limit. It can quickly take off from and land. From unpaved, that means uncemented, soft and sandy grassy airstrips. Another very important prelims question can be formulated from here. So remember, from the platform it can off-take. Okay. Now next question, consider the following statements. The Hoysala temples are known for a distinct style that is ornate with temple architecture following a stellate plan built on a lowered platform. The material used in temple construction is coloritic, schist, soft and amiable to carving. Originally, Helbedu was called Dwar Samudra, but its present name means old city. So how many of the statements given above is or are correct? Recently, the ensembles of Hoysala, specifically at 3 regions, have been designated as the 42nd UNESCO World Heritage Site. Santiniketan in India is the 41st, and now 42nd in India is the ensembles of Hoysala temples. Okay, and these are known for a very distinct style of temple. They are following a stellate plan, like this, like a star plan. And they are built on a raised platform and not a lowered platform. So there are certain keywords you have to keep in mind so that you do not, under any sort of nervousness, mark the wrong answer. So first statement is incorrect because here it should be raised and not lowered. The material used in the temple construction is coloritic schist. That is definitely correct. This is also known as soapstone because it is easy to carve. And originally, Helbedu was called Dwar Samudra. But now its name means old city. First is incorrect, second is correct, third is correct, 2 and 3 are correct, 2 only will be the correct answer. The sacred ensembles of Hoysala Temple at Belur, Helbedu and Somnathapura in Karnataka have been added to the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization World Heritage List, because the World Heritage Committee meeting is still going on and it will go on till 25th of September in Riyadh, and it is the 42nd one, remember, 42nd in India, 41st is Santiniketan. And who are the Hoysalas? Who are the or were the Hoysalas? They were actually local chieftains that grew or who grew into powerful feudatories under the Western Chalukyan emperors. And major region was Bellur. The military conquest of then Vishnuvardhan against the neighboring Cholas in 1116 Christ era gave them a much better position, and they built because of that Vishnuvardhan, he built the Chenna Kesava temple in Bellur. Later on, they shifted their capital from Bellur to Helbedu. Okay, I hope this much is clear. Now, this particular style of temple, Hoysala temple, is inspired by whom? Western Chalukyan architecture. Remember that, because a good prelims question can be asked. Hoysala style of temples are influenced by Western Chalukyan architecture. Do you know? The architects or workers who are working under the Western Chalukyas, they were also hired by the Hoysalas, because we will find abundance of figure sculptures. And these are very ornate, very beautiful. These are showing us important stories from mythologies. We use soapstone here, which allows fine detailing and clarification. More sharp looking sculptures. Then these are more extensive, and episodes from popular epics are there compared to later Western Chalukyan architecture. This is not just for the looks, but also to hold the temple together. It's very beautiful in nature. Alright, moving on. Now, as you see, this is the stellate pattern. I couldn't find a better picture which did not have copyright, so I used this. Okay, if you look from the above, it will look like a star, and it's a raised platform. Alright, moving on. With respect to the Women Reservation Bill, consider the following statements. It was former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi who first planted the seed of women reservation in elected bodies. The current bill under question was introduced in the Rajya Sabha. That is why the Women's Reservation Bill is still very much active. So, which of the statements given above is or are correct? The cabinet has given a go-ahead to the Women's Reservation Bill. Now, we have to see that if it gets passed in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha or not. As in Rajya Sabha, the current bill, this is the bill of 2008. It was introduced in the Rajya Sabha, and we know that whichever bill is introduced in the Rajya Sabha or passed by the Rajya Sabha and are pending in the Lok Sabha, even if the Lok Sabha dissolves, Rajya Sabha gives this very important shield to such bills, that they do not get lapsed. The bills which are introduced or passed by the Rajya Sabha do not get lapsed if they are pending in the Lok Sabha. So this is the beauty of our constitution. Also, this was by the UPA government, this was deliberately introduced in the Rajya Sabha so that it doesn't get lapsed. Earlier bills started getting lapsed time and over again because of this very matter, that they were introduced in the Lok Sabha. So, second is definitely correct. First is also correct. In 1989, it was Rajiv Gandhi who first talked about reservation of bills, women's reservation through a bill, but that bill couldn't be passed. The first is correct, second is also correct, both 1 and 2 are correct. The Union Cabinet on Monday cleared the Women's Reservation Bill. We have to see that if it gets passed from both the houses or not. The Constitution 108th Amendment Bill 2008. It is proposing to reserve 1/3, that is 33% of the total number of seats in state legislative assemblies and parliament for women. Here, a sub-reservation under the reservation, that means 33%. In this only, a sub-reservation will be given for SC, STs and Anglo-Indians, not a separate one. Okay, reserved seats may be allotted by rotation to different constituencies in the states or union territories. It will cease to exist after 15 years after the commencement of the Amendment Act. Supposedly, it gets commenced from 2027 onwards. So then 15 years, 2027 plus 15 years, until and unless it is renewed. Now, the history goes like that in May 1989, former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi first planted the seed, and he also introduced the Constitution Amendment Bill to provide 1/3 reservation for women in rural and urban local bodies. The bill was passed in the Lok Sabha but failed to be passed in the Rajya Sabha. Then, other government, that was the first UPA government, that was led by Dr. Manmohan Singh. They introduced this particular bill under the Common Minimum Program, and they tabled this bill 2008 in Rajya Sabha, introduced in the Rajya Sabha. But again, it never saw the day of light in the Lok Sabha. Now let's see that what happens, because 5 of the 7 recommendations which were made by the Geeta Mukherjee committee, it was accepted, 2 were not accepted. Okay, and this bill comprises of those important recommendations only. With reference to Chausath Yogini Temple situated near Morena, consider the following statements. It is a circular temple built during the reign of the Kachapagata dynasty. It is the only circular temple built in India. It was meant to promote the Vaishnava cult in the region, and its design has given rise to a popular belief and not evidenced, that it was the inspiration behind the Indian Parliament building. So how many of the statements given above is or are correct? This is one of the previous questions, and as we have moved from the old Parliament building to the new Parliament building, this particular question is very apt for this. So Chausath Yogini Temple, as you can see, it is in Mitauli, Morena, in the Morena district, Madhya Pradesh. It is just like the parliament building. As you can see, this is the temple and this is the parliament building, old parliament building, I will call it. Now, the thing is that it has given rise to a popular belief. There is no evidence that, or it is written somewhere that this particular temple was the reason or was the inspiration behind the current parliament building or old parliament building that we have been using since many years. But it was a suggestion by Lord Hardinge that Edwin Lutyens and Herbert Baker should go to all the parts of India and try to take the indigenous parts of India and then have a parliament building. They did not want any Western influence, but still it was a happy mixture of Western and Indian influence. So there is, because of so many findings, because of so many pictures, bird's eye views, it has been suggested that this Chausath Yogini temple, as I say, Chausath Yogini, that means 64. Chausath Yogini could be sorceress or those, goddesses who practiced yogas. There is a story behind it. I will tell you that as well. So the Chausath Yogini temple has been an inspiration. This is a popular belief. So that makes the fourth statement to be correct. It was meant to promote Vaishnava cult? No. It was meant to promote Shakti cult or Shaktite cult because it's Chausath Yogini. There is a story, there is a legend that when Rakt Bij, a demon, was born, he had this boon to himself. If somebody would want to kill him, whenever his blood used to touch the floor, more Rakt Bijs or demons would also occur accordingly. So similarly, to to finish him off completely, the goddess Kali, she sent, along with herself, she sent 64 other goddesses. And whenever she used to cut the head off and the blood used to drop on the floor, the Chausath Yoginis, they were there to drink the blood and did not let that blood drop fall on the ground. So this is the legend behind Chausath Yogini. And it was found out that in each of these small shrines, there are 64 small shrines and one big shrine in the middle here. 64 small shrines and one big shrine in the middle, which is facing eastwards. And in all these small chambers, there were we can say idols of goddesses that were placed. But later on, it was substituted by Shivlingas. So you see, this is the story behind the Chausath Yogini temple. All right. So yes, third is incorrect on that very matter. Fourth is correct. It is the only circular temple? No, there is also one Chausath Yogini. There is also one circular temple in Jabalpur. So second is incorrect. Yes, it was built by Maharaja Devpala from the Kacha Paghata dynasty. First is correct. Second is incorrect. Third is incorrect. Fourth is correct. First and fourth, two only will be the correct answer. Very striking resemblance, we can call it. Now I have already told you this. The year is 1323 Christ era. This temple is situated on top of a small hill that shows a circular plan. High plinth has been used. Most of the things I have told you from this. And Chausath Yogini temple near Jabalpur is also circular in design. It was not meant to promote Vaishnava cult. So Edwin Lutyens and Herbert Baker, when they wanted to, we can call him Lutyens as well or Lutyens as well, it's a proper noun, can be pronounced anyway. And they built this 164 pillared building, first housed the Imperial Legislative Council. Then it became the meeting point of Constituent Assembly in India and the Parliament building of India, comprising of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. With respect to H1B visa, consider the following statements. The H1B is a temporary visa category which allows employers to petition for highly educated foreign professionals to work in specialty occupation. The wage-based work visa regime gives priority in selection of visas to applications of those employers where the preferred wage equals or exceeds the prevailing level in the area of employment. It also takes into account the skill set that respective workers bring to the country. So how many of the statements given above is or are not correct? H1B visa. When the USA wanted to expand its work not only in what it was doing but science, technology, engineering and mathematics, it wanted to outsource its works because back then it couldn't find the kind of qualified people it wanted. So that starts the history of immigration. Now, the H1B visa was the visa that was provided to get talented people in the country, that is the USA. The H1B is a temporary visa category and it allows the employer. Supposedly, there is an employer X in America who wants to get their employees who can work in certain occupation and there is a need of such employees. So through H1B visa, the employer can do that. Also, the wage-based work visa regime, it gives priority in selection of visas to applications of those employers where the preferred wage equals or exceeds the prevailing level in the area of employment. Preferred wage means the wage the employer is ready to pay the beneficiary. It also takes into account the skill set that one is bringing to the country and if that skill set is available in their own country or not. So these are the many things that we have to know for H1B visa. So first is correct, second is correct, third is also correct, all three not correct. Okay, sorry, none will be the correct answer. All right. Now, Indian American Republican presidential candidate aspirant, not the candidate, Vivek Ramaswamy has vowed to gut the lottery-based system that is used for H1B visa, said that this program is for indentured servitude. Replace it with meritocratic admission if he wins the race to White House in 2024. This visa is divided, the H1 visa is divided into certain categories, H1B, 2B, L1, O1 and E1 visa. But the qualification, it is according to the qualification that is required. Sometimes you may require a just bachelorate degree, sometimes master's, sometimes PhD, like that. And the area for which the worker has sought admission. The most popular is the H1B visa because the relativity of the wage is better as compared to others. The new wage-based work visa regime gives priority in selection to visas according to the employers, according to the application of the employers, where the preferred wage equals or exceeds the prevailing level in the area of employment. There is a quota that this much of visa has to be provided under the H1B. So the 65,000 regular visa and the 20,000 advanced degree exemption visas, or for both of these, it is there. It also takes into account the skill set that respective worker brings to the country and cross-check if it is available at a better cost in the USA only or not. Now, this is a practice question for you. When was the group of 77 created? 1954, 1964, 1974, 1984. I asked you a question yesterday. Let me take the names of those students who have answered that correctly. B was the correct answer. So many of you have answered it correctly. Simran, Shubham, Vaibhav, Bird Song Music Company, Raj, Priyadarshan, Prabhat, Yash, Anshika, Chiranjeet. Many of you have answered the other question as well. Very good for that. Abhishek, very good. Rachna, you have answered it correctly. Vivek has answered it correctly. Riya, thank you so much. Riya has answered both the questions very good. Then Gopesh has answered it correctly. Siddhu, Komal, Shantanu, Uttam, Shambhav. Thank you so much, Shambhav. I hope you all the success. Mandeep, very good. Yes, Mandeep, you had to answer which year was it declared so. The Durga Puja. Mansi, very good. Tune It has also answered it correctly. Ritu, Manish, very good Manish and Ritu both. Manoj, Sanjay, Anfas, Nirja, thank you so much. Gaurangi, good evening to you as well. Pragati is actually B, okay? It's actually B. So answer this question as well. We'll see you next in the next class. Thank you so much.